Shalom, Eti. Shalom, Charles, Andre, Gil.
Shalom. Good morning, Fernando. How are you this morning after the vacation in the new year?
Good evening, Eti. I'm happy to be here, and it's very good to hear you to all. And I am, as Charles, a little tired from the vacation, but very excited to be here again, studying the Torah and listen to you, friends. It fills up my heart. So good to hear you, Eti. And how are you doing, Eti?
Thank you. I'm fine and I'm very happy to be here with you. Very happy. It was a vacation that, how do you say, planned vacation, the first time since the Corona started. So we were learning almost every day. And sometimes I took a few hours vacations. I mean, I skipped a few days, but since February 2020 until this vacation, almost we did not stop. So I think it was more than vacation in a way. It's just some kind of a pause and a new gate. So this is how it feels to me. I don't know, how do you feel? How do you process this period? I would be very happy to hear from you. And good morning, Jill.
Hello, good morning, good evening.
Shalom, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. How are you? I just heard how you were doing. It sounded like you had an awesome vacation.
It was like how do you say, a period of how do you say, retreating and trying to see what was happening in almost the last 2 years. I don't know how Fernando and Charles, because they are with us since then, I believe, and Jill. And what is your perspective? I would like to hear from you, if you may, before we start with the whiteboard, and we have already people on YouTube gathering.
For me personally, I can say I was going back to the notes, and I see we've got a lot of stuff, lots and lots of stuff, meaning to say I saw that I'm loaded in Torah. Some of the things I'd forgotten, but I saw that I had lots of stuff. So it gave me a time to reflect as well, to see that at least as far as Torah is concerned, I saw it's making me grow. It has given me a lifestyle of looking into the Torah from another angle, but it has made me to grow in the way I communicate with people, the way I speak, the way I look at things.
Great to hear. Great to hear from you, Charles. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And Fernando?
Yeah, it's difficult for me to describe this moment, and I have a lot of activities around here, and it was not easy for me to study. But every time that I could be alone, I was reading Vine Rap and reading Thomas Mann and thinking about the classes. So I I I felt like I was always connected somehow to the teachings and to the friends, and I was missing to hear you and to have this place, this sacred place, to listen the new words of Torah. So I'm just very glad to be here among friends and thinking about this way of seeing life in a different perspective.
Thank you. Jill, would you like to say something, to share something?
I'm just so grateful to be back in class. I guess I was excited because I was starting out the year with like a focus, getting to be here. So I was really looking forward to hearing everybody's voice, hearing their voice as well. I was excited because I got Thomas Mann's uh, book for Christmas, and so I'm all
Whoa,
excited
that's nice.
to get to read the book with you guys. So it's been awesome. It's been a really nice vacation.
Thank you so much. And now, do we have an access to the whiteboard? There is a whiteboard which is waiting for us. Do you have an access to it?
Yes,
Fernando, Charles, do you see the whiteboard? I'll make it a bit bigger. Do you see? Do you have access?
Yes. Now I see it. Yes.
You do. Thank you. And Jill, Charles, do you have an access to the whiteboard?
yes, I do.
You do. The topic is Jonah, Jonah and the whale. And as you see here on the whiteboard, there is one text from the book of Jonah, a picture from a handwritten book on the right. And what would you like to start with? With the text, with the painting? There are two kinds of, there's one sculpture at the bottom. What would you like to start with?
I like the text.
Okay, so let's turn to the text. Yes. Tell me if the letters are clear enough for reading. Is the text
Yes,
clear?
yes.
Yes.
Want me to start?
Yes, please.
Okay. And the Lord prepared a great fish to swallow up Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Then Jonah prayed unto the Lord his God out of the fish's belly. And he said, I called out of my affliction unto the Lord, and he answered me. Out of the belly of the netherworld cried I, and thou heardest my voice. For thou didst cast me into the depth, in the heart of the seas, and the floods was round about me. All thy waves and thy billows passed over me. And I said, I am cast out from before thine eyes, yet I will look again toward thy holy temple. The waters compassed me about, even to the soul. The deep was round about me. The weeds were wrapped about my head. I went down to the bottoms of the mountains. The earth and her bars close up, close upon me forever. Yet hast thou brought up my life from the pit, O Lord my God. When my soul fainted within me, I remembered the Lord, and my prayer came in unto thee, into thy holy temple. They that regard lying vanities forsake their own mercy, but I will sacrifice unto thee the voice of thanksgiving. That which I have vowed I will pay. Salvation is of the Lord. And the Lord spoke unto the fish, and it vomited out Jonah upon the dry land.
Thank you so much, Jill. Thank you so much. And questions about the text before we move to the paintings? Okay. So let's move a bit here. This is a book, a handwritten book from the 15th century. This is it. It is from 1476. Please pay attention. This is before I make a special focus that we would be able to see. It's before printing. It's before printing. That this is a handwritten book. And please pay attention that the Hebrew letters almost when we read from right to left, there is no almost no space between the words. And please pay attention to the relation of the text and to the painting or the drawing. There is quite freedom because there is no format of printing. So there's like flowing text at the moment. Let's focus in the drawing or in the painting. What do we see here? in this page of the book. I would like us to focus a bit here. Who would like to describe what does he see?
We can see
Yeah.
a boat and two mariners
Mhm.
talking, and we can see a big fish swallowing Jonah.
And what is the relations between the fish and Jonah? When the fish, this is the moment that the fish pukes or takes out Jonah out of his mouth. What is the relation between the body of Jonah, the head, the fish? What comes out first, so to speak, from the fish mouth? What comes out first?
His, or his feet are coming out first, unless,
Yes,
unless he's being swallowed. Then if he's being vomited out, then his feet are coming out first.
excellent. His feet, or we can say in Hebrew, regel, this is his leg, the whole. This is very interesting. In regular pregnancy, when everything is okay and the mother and the time of the birth is coming or approaching, what is the natural mode of the baby to go out from the womb if there aren't any complication in a general pregnancy?
Head first.
The head first. Excellent, the head. And now the leg or the feet is the first out to go. What is the Hebrew word for leg? Do you remember? I will remind us. 1 second. The Hebrew word for 1 second. I have to find here the pen again. The Hebrew word for leg, regel, regel. This is leg in English. Regel. The value of regel is 233.
Yes.
Does it remind any
The tree of
idea?
life, yes.
Tree of life,
Yes.
very good. It's a chaim. It's a chaim, tree of life. Tree of life has the same value. Tree of life. Excellent. So the leg or the feet is the first thing to go out of the mouth of the fish. Why? Why? Why is that so? Why not like in a general pregnancy? We could say that the big fish is a mother and Jonah is like a fetus, but the artist or the painter chose a different mode of pregnancy when the leg is going out first. What is the hint?
It's a tikkun, maybe.
Yes, yes, yes. It's a
You know,
correction.
yes,
Yes,
because
yes,
like the trees and uh, the tikkun starts from the bottom, from what is connected to the earth, and
yes,
going up, maybe.
yes, yes. Very good, very good. There's one leg here, regel, the tree of life, and there is a, how do you say, this is an opposite situation because with the legs we are touching the ground, and the ground is something firm and solid and not shaky like waters. So in a way Jonah moves from one mode, like being in the boat first and then the They try to, the sailors, they try to dip him few times until he asked to be thrown into the water. So he moves in a few stages until the fish pukes Jonah first with the leg out with a connection to the tree of life in intention that he will walk on a solid land. And I would like us to look at few Hebrew words in the text which are giving us few, how do you say, kinds of thinking. Yabasha, let's look at the word here, Yabasha, dry land. Yabasha, Yabasha, here I'll write it, make it a bit thinner. Yabasha, dry land, has the value of 317 plus 1 is 318, like siach, so conversation. So the fact that the fish puke Jonah on a dry land, it means that now Jonah will rise up and develop a conversation. In the belly of the fish, he was having a prey. Now he will develop a conversation. Questions so far? Questions or thoughts?
I have some, Eti, if I may.
Yes. Yes.
Very chaotic questions, but let's try it. So this event that happens with Jonah, in fact, can happen to each one of us, because like Weinreb says, the story of Jonah is the story of each one of us. And we have some interesting words here, like Dag Gadol, the big fish. We have interesting gematria as well, because it gives us the number 50, if I
Yes.
remember well.
Yes.
There is the Nun, there is the Binah, there is the Womb,
Yes.
and Yonah, if I remember well as well, is 71. And he stays 3 days and 3 nights, that is 72 hours.
Yes.
So we have an equivalence of form, and like you said, he had to correct himself to get out in a dry land in a conversation. So my question, it is about this process of correction, this process of correcting each part of us, because Ari speaks about this correction from the feet to the head,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that we have some hints here about this idea. If you could say what this correction means and how can we make this correction process. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, like you mentioned before, the correction is like to start from the bottom up, like from a solid ground, from conversation, from understanding, and not in a way to create relation to another person by having a conversation. This is it, because sometimes people go to the world with their ideas, what they're convinced of, or what the society or what people were through the process of life they picked up from the surrounding, but it doesn't It doesn't build good-hearted relations. Sometimes people walk with ideas, and it does not bring peace in the heart. So the advice here is to start again with the heart, with a conversation, with a communication, with a solid ground, because the only solid ground that we have is relation with another person. Questions? Did I answer?
Yes, in fact, yes, is the ability to be able to accept the transformation, and the conversation is like a mirror that permits it, if I understood well.
Yes.
But if I may just go a step further,
Yes.
it's like, because I think that Ari speaks about a transformation in like every aspect, like from the feet to the head, you know. Why he speaks this way, like saying that we have to correct our feet and to correct our each part of our body, you know.
I think that I think now I understand a bit what you're saying. He says that all humanity, maybe this is what you're referring to, that he says that all humanity is one human, and we are like now at the moment almost 8 billion people on the planet. And he says already in the 16th century that all humanity is one human. And some of us are souls that were taken from the arms. This is just an image. Yes, the arm is grace, Zroa, Zera, Chesed. And some of us are taken from the head. And some of us are souls that are coming from the feet and so all humanity is one human. I mean, all the people. This is one direction of thinking to what you said. In general, all humanity is one Adam, one human. This is one perspective that I can think of. And there is another one, which is also maybe it's helpful to see this through the zodiac, that our correction as humans, we are trying in a way. I will try to make a little drawing here, because there is like the zodiac here. Let's say this is, let's say this is Aries, this is Tale, this is Spring, and this is Fish. And this is like 2 feet are like the 2 fish that, and the correction in a way is to go from the feet, which is duality, and to make the course until we get to the lamp, meaning to correct everything from the bottom until the head. In a way, Moses, this is interesting, he was born in a way a fish, and he did the whole process to the lamb to lead Israel outside of Egypt. So there is a personal dimension that you introduced to us, and also there's like something like a global dimension that all humans, as we are at the moment, over almost 8 billion people, are a manifestation of one Adam. But since there's so much to correct, we are many so to speak bodies, and each of one in the course of his life can correct a part, and then there's like a process of correction, if this is what you meant in your question.
Yes, thank you, Iti. Yes.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I just want to relate to the word vomit. Yaka, Yod, Kof, Aleph, Yaka here. Where is it? Here. I would like to mark it that everybody will be able to see. Vayaka. Vav is the vav is the connecting vav, but the root is Yod Kof Aleph. Yod Kof Aleph. Yod Kof Aleph. I'll write it here again. What is the value of Yod Kof Aleph? 1, 100, and Yod is 10. So what does it mean to vomit? 1, 1, 1, or basically the connection to the letter Aleph. So by vomiting Jonah, he connects him to the 1. And we said that the value of Jonah is 71. Jonah is 71 plus this vomiting, which is 1. And we have 72. And what is 72 that you mentioned? Those are the 3 days and the 3 nights that he spent in the belly of the fish, because 3 days and nights are together 72 hours. Questions?
It maybe this time out make me with a lot of ideas, new ideas, or I don't know, because I have a lot of questions.
So
I don't
ask
want
me.
to monopolize.
To ask.
But I'm looking at these numbers 72, and you just mentioned it before about the correction, and you just mentioned that each one of us has a correction to make that is related with our astrological map, maybe, or something like this. And the number 72 is related with the circle. You know, we can divide
Yes,
the circle
yes, yes,
360 by 5. We
yes,
get 72.
yes.
So again, to me, it seems that it's a correction from Jonah. He went to the unconscious, he went to the darkness, to the dissolution of himself, and make this correction in the dark. I don't know.
Yes, this is why I brought the second. This is basically a sculpture. This is why I brought it, because this is a different perspective of the artist. It was from Google Museum. You can see a different perspective. What is the perspective that we see here? I'll try to make a focus that everybody also on YouTube would be able to see. What do we see? What is the perspective of the artist here? How does he portray the whale? What is the belly of the fish in this perspective? What is happening to Jonah? What is the perspective here? What is the color of the fish?
It's dark,
It's
black.
dark, dark and black. And what does Jonah uh, looking for in the belly of the fish? In this darkness, what does he look for?
He seems to be looking, it looks like there's a sun. It
Yes,
seems like he's floating toward the sun or going toward the sun.
yes, yes. Yes, in this darkness, he's looking for the sun, for illumination, for the star, for a spark in this whole darkness. And it's not clear in a way from his posture. Is he flying or is he swimming or being swallowed? And his head, how, what is the relation of his head towards 12 o'clock in the clock? I mean, do you see the way that he holds his head in the belly of the fish?
He has his head raised slightly,
Yes,
and that's
yes.
looking upward. I guess
Looking up,
his nose would
yes,
be, yeah.
yes, yes. He's looking directly. Yes, very good. He's looking upward. Look. And again, where the legs of Jonah? Where? If now let's continue the movie in our head. Let's imagine that we can animate uh, this sculpture, and now we have to create a motion of which the whale is puking or vomiting Yona. Now, from this perspective, what will come out first from the mouth of the fish or the whale?
His feet will come out first.
Yes, yes, again, this is very interesting. The feet. Questions or thoughts that you have at the moment that you would like to share with us? Charles? I would like to relate to the star or to the sun that we see here, like a source of light or a spark. There is here, let's make it and focus here. This thing, which reminds me, the flower of the cotton. Have you seen once, not a flower, but in a cotton field? 1 second. I will make it a bit go out here. In a cotton, when the cotton is ready, it looks like this. It's like five things, like, and here, in a way, the cotton is inside the flower of the cotton. It's basically like a hand, the flower of cotton, like the full hand perspective. And in a way, this is a non-linear thinking. And in a way, Jonah is reaching out for this full hand perspective. What is the full hand perspective? This is very interesting because he's like
It's
trying to reach
interesting.
it. Yeah.
No, it's interesting because, like we said, he stays 72 hours and in the darkness. So if we divided 360, the circle that is the manifested, into 72, we have the 5 that you are drawing, and the 5 is the potential, is the full hand perspective, like you said. This is what is invisible. It's beyond the 4, the manifested. So just putting some ideas on the table.
Thank you so much. Any questions that you'd like to ask? Charles, Jill? I just when I was looking at the painting from the Hebrew book and I saw how the painter drew the ship, I thought that in this time in history, this is how sail ship in this time does. The ship used to sail only like with the power of the wind. So I brought here like a sketch or a drawing of a ship from the same, approximately from the same time. The name of the ship here is Great Michael. 1 second, I'll put it. Yes, four sail ship, Great Michael. And I was thinking about the name Great Michael. In the book of Daniel, there is there is a mention of Michael Hasar Hagadol, Michael the Great Minister. So this is very interesting that they named the ship. This is a ship from Scotland. They named the ship Great Michael, and the name Great Michael is mentioned in the book of Daniel. So there is a similarity between the ship that we see here in historical aspect and the ship that the painter chose to draw in the book of Jonah. I just would like us to see the perspective of time. Questions general that you would like to share, topics which are interesting you for the future.
I have a question about the
Yes,
picture. You
yes.
said that all of the words in Hebrew were all next to each other. Was there, do you think there's a reason for that, that there's no spaces?
General is a very good question. Generally, the Torah is, how do you say, combination is just a sequence of letters. The whole Torah is just a sequence of letter by letter by letter by letter. And in a way, how do we create words? By cutting, by making a space between the fact that we are making a space between letters. In a way, we are creating words. I would like us to look for one. This is very good. The question that you asked. Let's write one word and see how does it work. Let's take the word Elohim. 5 letters. Elohim is God. Elohim. This is God. 5 letters. We can divide or put a space between after 2 letters. If we put a space like this and I make like a space bar like this, we have a new combination. This is L, 2, and Hayam. Hayam is the sea. So if we put the 5 letters together, this is God, Elohim. But if we make a space, we're creating a new combination. This is to the sea. 7 tears are running to, there is a song like this. 7 tears are running to the ocean, 7 tears are running to the sea. There is a song like this. So here we see to the sea. But what is to the sea? If we take the space bar, and I will put another color, let's remove the space bar. And again, this is God. So in a way, the way we put space between things, we are terming the reading. Is that idea understood?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. This is the first way to look at things. Sometimes we can like like we do in English, Scrabble. We take the letter which is in the end, we put it in the front, and then we have completely different idea. So the Bible or the Torah, this for this reason, the Torah or the Bible is also named tzerufa. Tzerufa is combinations. Tzerufa, tzerufa. A Torah is also called tzerufa, combination. Combination. This is the name of the Torah, tzerufa. Combinations is how do we combine things. And the person who makes the combination is tzoref. What is tzoref? Goldsmith. In English, a person who takes gold and make from these little sparks of gold jewelries, sometimes a bracelet, sometimes earrings, sometimes a band to a clock, gold, smith. So again, התורה נקראת צירופה, צירופה, combination, and the one who makes the combination, who combines from this, we can make this. And Tzoref is a goldsmith. So sometimes we find that many people during the history got the name Goldschmidt, goldsmith, Goldschmidt, and they did not have any gold shop, but in a way, their name or family name hints that they were dealing with the secret of the Torah. They were making combinations, so they carried the name goldsmith. Is that clear, this kind of an idea of combinations?
Yeah, it's really interesting. And thanks for explaining that.
You're welcome. This is basically what rose the idea of the Book of Zohar in the Middle Ages. People were sitting at Spain and France and dealing with it, and they were corresponding with each other, learning together like we do, and the idea expands. And this idea, um, we call this idea in Latin ars combinatorica. Ars is like art combinatorica, the art of combinations. And this idea expands. It moves from the Hebrew surrounding or circles in Spain and in France to the Christian surrounding until it reaches the Pope. This is a very powerful idea because
It is amazing.
it's like abracadabra. I create as I speak, or I create even as I write. And if you notice today in the messages that I sent on YouTube, on Twitter for class, we look at the word year, like we have a new year. So this is how we write the word year, new year. But if we put the Y in brackets, and then we have ear, and ear can also listen. Also, the word in English, the verb to hear, to listen, is like this: H-E-A-R. If we put the H for in brackets, again, we have, please pay attention, because whenever we stop and make a pause or a space, we are creating, it's like in music. It's the same note, but if there's space, it sounds differently. If there isn't any space, the same notes. For instance, there's a beautiful air on strings by Bach. So we hear it naturally, classic music. But when we hear it in the 60s, they are playing this piece, like in a contemporary time of the 60s, they create from this piece a new song. It sounds a bit different because there's a different space. They put more vessels or instruments, and it's different a bit. So in a way, this is a very powerful idea because it puts the power of creation into a human being. A human being is a sovereign. We're not slaves of managers in high-tech companies. We are not obedience of a rabbi or a minister in a church. We have ability to create and to create order, order and combination. And by creating, we are setting ourselves free. It's a powerful. This is the most powerful idea a human could have ever had. Questions?
It is amazing, Eti, what you said about Seruf
Mm.
and Serufa. I just want to thank you. And it makes me remember again from Luria that he speaks that all the Torah was written without spaces, let's say.
Yes,
It was
yes,
only letters. And the Torah that we have today, it's just one idea from the Torah, the original Torah. You know, the story of the Torah, it's just to make us able to read somehow.
yes.
But
It's
the
the first.
essence is not that, right?
Yes,
Please continue.
yes, yes. It's just a draft. This is just an offering, like you say. This is one draft. What we read as the Torah is one option to read the Torah. Yes, there's infinite ways to read the Torah. I just was reminded of the word Tzorev, goldsmith. I was reading Yehuda Liebe's book about Sabbatianism. There was a movement in the 17th century. People went offline in Europe. They lose track. And while he was researching the correspondence between that happened between the people that were dealing with it, he discovered a person that his family name was Soref, in English, goldsmith. But he did not find in the documents any documents or any reference that describes that this man had a shop to make gold or jewelries. And I wanted to write him. I did not write him yet because he was looking for centuries also from the descendants of this person called Soref to find any evidence or any direction why this person is named Goldsmith by his family name. And the moment I saw this, I understood that the name Tzoref Goldsmith was attached to his name because he was making combinations of the letters of the Torah. He was not a literally, how do you say literally, goldsmith. He did not deal with gold to make rings or bracelets or earring. No, he was making combinations of the Torah. This is why they add the name Tzoref to his name, and not because he dealt with the metal of gold. But I did not have yet written to the professor. I felt very deeply about it, but did not act on it yet.
This is amazing. And just to question if I understood well, this was Shabbatai Tzvi? It was
There was a
the
yes, but
Tzoref?
the one of the people that dealt with Sabbatianism, his name was Tzoref, not Shabtai Tzvi himself, but the communities were influenced and they started writing letters to each other. And one of the people that were changing letters was named Zoref, and the professor could not find why his name was Zoref, because he didn't find any documentation that described it. He had a shop or dealt with gold as a metal or create any jewelries, not him nor his children. He did not understand. This is also remind.
In,
Yes, yes. Please, Fernando.
please, no, please continue, Eti, because I just wondering because this is a very controversial theme. You know, it's not an easy topic to go into, and I'm really glad that you shared with us this idea of tzoref. Just this.
Yes, there is another story that comes to my mind when Elijah, in the book Kings 1:17, he moves to how do you say Tzarfat Asher Betzidon. He moves to Lebanon, to the house of the widow, and God speaks to him and says, "Go lech el Tzarfat." Tzarfat Sarafent. The English Bible says Tzarfat. In English, we say Sarafent, and in Hebrew, it's also mean France, the state of France. But if we look at the letters Tzarfat or Sarafent, or it means basically the combinations. Letzaref, letzaref, tzeref, tzeref is to make a combination of letters. So this is why Elijah, we did not go into the story deeply. This is a very deep story because in a way the child that Elijah brought into life, the son of the widow, was Jonah. We read about the book of Jonah, and in a way Jonah exists for itself. But Jonah is the child that Elijah revived. And we sent this morning a text by Weinreb about the revival of Jonah. By the way, the letters tzeref, combination, to make combination, combination, is if we write them in a different order, we have the name Peretz. Who is Peretz?
Son of Yehuda,
Yes,
one of the
yes.
twins.
One of the twins of Judah, one of the twins, and he is the father of David. This is a very strong name here, Tzarfat. Tzarfat, we say France, because Tzarfat means many things. Tzarfat means also France in English. When we translate, the biblical Tzarfat is Sarafent, but when we go into the secret of the Hebrew letters, it means combinations of the letters. This is a very strong word.
It is amazing. So the salvation of King David, the door of salvation, because David is the door also.
Yes, yes.
It's the salvation. The principle is the combination, is the permutation,
Yes, yes,
the creativity.
yes. This is it, the creativity, because Tzarfat is also, this is another combination. Tzarfat is also narrow bread. Tsar is narrow, like Egypt, Mitzrayim. Tsar pat is a slice of bread. Pat is like pass, like a very slice. slice of bread. There's narrow bread because there's a famine in the land and he has to go to the land of Lebanon. And then there's a widow. She doesn't even have a husband to support her spirit, and she needs to provide for Elijah in the years of famine, and she has narrow bread, tsar fat, narrow bread only for her and for her son, and to die. This is what she tells Elijah when she sees him. There's a drop of food and not enough, just to eat the last, so to speak, meal and then to drift. This is a very strong story that maybe we're building up to deal with it. This is a very, very strong story. Questions or thoughts that you'd like to share?
I just appreciate listening to the perspectives because it just forces me to look at things and look for something different. I feel like I was caught in this place where everything, like I didn't see anything different, but I just appreciate listening to you all because it kind of forces me to change the way that I see things.
Thank you. You know, till today, if I may share something, I was waiting for the dentist this morning, and I was waiting and for several moments, and suddenly I could see, because I was waiting and he did not come on time, I could observe the relation between light and shadow in the boulevard, and I noticed that it is our perspectives which are changing things. It was quite shocking, but I don't know, this experience that in a way it's how we approach things and how do we distinguish things. It changed everything because everything is beautiful and perfect. And the
I agree.
thank you. Questions or thoughts or requests for the coming week in terms of topics, ideas, stream of arts in literature that you would like us to survey, or periods of history? Is there something on your mind that you would wish that we shall survey or approach in our conversations? Is there something that occupies you?
It is
Yes.
so many things, but I just want to thank you so much for this beautiful lesson today. And if I may say something, for me, every study that you bring, it's amazing. And I'm just wondering here if you could say something also about this new month that is starting today, this new
Yes.
moon, and we have a holiday also about the new year of the trees,
Yes. Yes.
and I think that is a beautiful topic. So if you could say something, it would be nice.
Yes. Today there is a new moon being born. Chodesh Shvat. Shvat. Bala Sulam. Bala Sulam brings a very interesting teaching about this. He says Shvat Shehibit. Shehibit, that he looked, from to look at, but from the divine perspective, to see from the sovereign perspective. Shehibit. In English, we say beat. Beat is a rhythm, beat. He says Shehibit is like if we again make a combination of the letters. We take the tet, bring it here, we take the bet, putting it at the end, and Yod is like Vav. So it is here, Tov. When we look from the sovereign perspective, everything is good. Shehi beat. But if we turn or make a different combination, we bring the tet first. Then we have Tov. Tov, everything is good. Everything is good. Tov, shehi beat. Everything is good. Again, tet first, bet is last, and what used to be the yod, because yod and vav they always change. This is a masculine letters. 1 second. Here I will. This is the H's are feminine, and vav is masculine letter, and yod is as well masculine. So for us, it doesn't matter if it's a yod or it's a vav. He brings the vav here, and this is what is shehibit tov. Everything is good. He brings another perspective because Shvat is the fifth month. It's the fifth. I make a hand. It's the fifth month from Rosh Hashanah, from Tishrei, and it's a full hand perspective. And we see 5 months from Tishrei, from Rosh Hashanah, and we have a full hand perspective, and everything is good. When we have the full hand perspective, everything is good. This is what he says about Shvat, Sheibit. This is why we celebrate the new year for the trees, that everything is good.
Thank you, it's amazing. Thank you very
You're
much.
most welcome. You're most welcome. And if you have questions that you would like to survey in literature, in history, in art, write to us on Slack or communicate, and we shall try to open more the discussions to include the topics that are interest you. Okay?
Thank
Thank
you so much.
thank you so much. We shall meet here tomorrow if you have time. Have a wonderful year and a beautiful month.
You too. Shalom,
Shalom,
shalom.
shalom.
Amen. Shalom, shalom, friends.
Thank you and
Thank you
shalom.
so much. Shalom.